Hey guys, welcome to another review. Now, ESET just released a new beta, that is the Smart Security 6 beta. It was just released a couple of days ago, I think, so I just decided to take a look at it. Now, their basic interface is still the same. As you can see, the basic design, still the tabs on the left and all the stuff to the right, but there have been made some minor changes, as you can see. I think it looks a little bit better with these minor changes. Now, earlier if you used to click on these, it just used to disable them, but now if you click on them, you can actually get to the advanced settings. Now you can see the intrusion prevention is still set to automate mode with rules. Now this was something I was really hoping that ESET would change and come up with something a little bit better when it comes to protection, because this way their intrusion prevention just basically would let everything through. So I kind of hope that they'll change something here, and I don't see a lot of changes. Just the only thing that's changed is they've added one rule, and that is to allow registry access to driver loading required for successful boot. So other than that, but this might come into play. Actually, it's going to allow registry access and driver loading required for successful boot. So maybe for something else, it might come up with some alerts. We'll see how this goes. I'll just leave it in stock settings. And if we go into the advanced settings for the antivirus, we'll still find that they're still the same things. They've just optimized their smart scan somewhat. And if we go into the threat sense, we'll find that everything's still the same. Now, this is a big setting here that we find. Not only in threat sense, but in real-time engine. There you go. They actually categorize two different kinds of threats: potentially unwanted applications and potentially unsafe applications. Now, if you enable this, the detection rate is going to go up. From what I've seen, ESET gets a pretty bad detection rate with the default settings, but if you enable this potentially unsafe applications detection, which basically gets a lot of adware and stuff, it is going to go up. But I'll leave it in stock for this test. And heuristics comes enabled. Advanced heuristics, or the DNA or smart signatures, is disabled by default, just to improve the performance and to reduce false positives. So we'll see how it comes into play and how this application works. These are some of the changes. The interface looks pretty nice. Let's just make sure that we have the latest signatures. Seems to be taking a while here. Should be pretty quick. There you go. So it's up to date, everything's fine. So let's just see how it protects us against some of the latest threats. So here I've got about 13 malicious URLs that are all infected. We'll test them out and see how ESET responds to these zero-day threats. Now the first one is some kind of an exploit. So there you go, it redirects you somewhere, and then we get forbidden. So that's dead. I just got a couple extra in case we might fall short. Second one is another something like that, and that was blocked. It's a JS frame and it's been quarantined. So that is good. Now the next one is an executable, and we'll just run it. It's some kind of Trojan, but it's not going to run because ESET's going to block it. And the next one, okay, some of the files intended for cleaning are locked. So it wants me to reboot. I'm not going to reboot right now. I'll just wait for this test to get over. And the next one will probably be blocked as well. So that is blocked. But this is something annoying. It's asking me to reboot every time I'm using an application file. That's not good. It should be able to take care of it without having to reboot. And as you can see, the ESET interface seems to have hung up here. So it's still a beta though, so you can't blame it. It's still got some bugs. This is some kind of adware, I guess. Okay, variant of Win32 PSW Trojan. So that one's blocked. Now there you go. This is the first bug, I guess, that I found. When you take your mouse over the interface or the alert, it just shows that it's busy. So you can't click on it. There you go. You can't click on it. So yeah, that's kind of like annoying, but this is a beta, so we'll have to deal with things like these. Can't blame it. So let's try the next one here. This one was the first one to be blocked by the web blocking. And that's pretty reasonable because a lot of these files are really new, so you can't expect everything to be blocked by the web blocking. There you go, this one's blocked as well. Okay, this one's probably some adware. And it's blocked. Okay, threat found, Trojan banker. So it wants to submit this for analysis. So it's not a confirmed threat, but it wants me to remove it. I'll just hit delete if I can, but looks like their interface has just hung up. I'm clicking on it, but nothing's happening. There you go. Earlier it used to show that spinning wheel. Now it's not showing anything, but it's not working. So that's probably a bug. So I don't know what to do to this. There you go, their interface still opens, but oops, there you go. It's not gonna work. That's pretty strange. There you go, I'm clicking on the tabs, but nothing's exactly happening, which means it's not very good. I guess it might become responsive when all of these alerts close. Hopefully that's what'll happen. So I guess I'll be back when I get things under control here. Still not working. Okay, so I just closed that alert and we're back in business here. So let's see how it blocks the last two. So far it's got everything. Okay, it's blocked by my DNS. I'm not gonna try again because I've got enough links. So we'll just run the last one, and that is also blocked. So ESET successfully blocked everything that came from the web. That wants me to reboot, so I'm just gonna reboot just to make it happy because it's not cooperating right now. So once the computer's booted up, we'll be back and we'll do the files test. Okay, I just rebooted and there's nothing running in RAM, so we're good to go. And let's just check out the ESET memory usage. I know this is a beta, but we'll just take a look. It's about 76 megabytes, so they're not improving their memory usage. They're not working on that. They certainly don't appear to be bothered about the RAM usage for the moment, but I think it's pretty fast, so I don't think there's any need for them to really get worried about that. So the application's still pretty fast. It's taken care of all the threats. Only thing I think they need to work on the bugs right now. It's blocked all the threats. So now let's just grab some files and let's see what kind of detection rate they get. Let's just keep this interactive here. Not gonna really. Let's just try to copy this infected folder onto my desktop and see what it blocks. I haven't disabled the real time, so it's just gonna keep blocking the things, and we'll see how many threads it blocks in real time. And then I'm gonna do a scan, and I guess I'll be back when this copy is done, because it's gonna keep blocking threads. And it might take a while. Okay, now I'm getting threats like these asking me that a potential threat has been found. So this is maybe the cloud. I'm not very sure, but it might be the threat sense, or not exactly threat sense. They call it live grid. It might be live grid that's doing some work here, but I'm not very sure at what exactly these threats are. Now, the signatures are basically coming up here, the threats that are being detected by the signatures. But there are a lot of threats they're just coming up with a different window that it wants to submit for analysis. So those are probably the threats. There you go, another one here. So maybe it's just because it's potential unwanted application. I'm not very sure, but might be the cloud or anything. I'm not very sure how they classify their threats. So I guess I'll be back when the rest of work is done. Okay, I just remembered that I forgot to show you guys the total number of files. So take a look here. There are 353 items. So we've got 353 files, and that's how we'll be calculating the detection rate. Okay, so the copy finished, but ESET's still detecting some stuff. So I'm just gonna do a right click, scan and clean files with ESET, and I'll be back with the results, and we'll check out how they scan, how fast they scan. Let's see if it's pretty quick. Seems to be taking some time to initialize. Anyway, I'll just be back when everything's done. Okay, the scan completed, and still found some things that it couldn't deal with, and it wants me to select an action manually. I'm just going to select delete on everything, and then we'll just apply them. That should take care of that. Okay, so scan's completed, and let's see what it's left over. So we're left with 46 items. Now these files were about 5 days old, so we'll see how the detection rate comes out. We had 353, and now we have 46. So a detection rate of 86.9%. That is by no means bad. It's pretty decent. In fact, it's pretty good. It's not the best, but an okay detection rate. Of course, the files were a little bit older, so I do expect the detection rate to increase, but it's not that bad. So this is what it gets in default settings. Now I'm just going to go to real-time settings, do some changes. Now this certainly has improved. The last application used to do pretty bad with the default settings, but this one seems to be doing really well with the new way it's configured. I don't know how it's configured right now, but in default settings it's doing pretty well. So now I'm just going to make a little bit of change here. I'm just going to go and enable the Advanced Heuristics, and also to scan for potentially unwanted applications. I mean potential unsafe applications in the real-time file scan, and also in their default scan here. On-demand scan, I'm just gonna go and enable this potential unsafe applications. Okay, so it uses the smart signatures by default on the smart scan, so that's good. So maybe that's why their detection rate has improved somewhat. So let's do one more scan and let's see if it finds anything. No, nothing's there. See if the real time or cloud, anything comes up. There you go. Now I think this is a cloud detection because it was not detected by the scan. Okay, let's see if it finds anything else. No. So this is the final score, 45 items, just one more thing that we could make it fine by increasing the settings, so not much of gain here. So let's just run some of these and see what happens if they can infect the system. So we'll be looking to see how their intrusion prevention works. So far, nothing from the intrusion prevention. There's a piece of adware that's just gonna install fine, I think. Now, a lot of these are just adware and stuff like that that don't do much. So this time, I'm just gonna do something a little bit different here. Now, we've tried these files, and as you can see, they're not gonna do some great damage that is gonna make the system crash or anything like that. So we can't exactly get to know how their zero-day protection works, because a lot of these files are just, okay, so an adware has been found. That's good. So although we've got some adware running here, we cannot exactly conclude that this computer is infected just because we've got a couple of adware running. So this time I'm just going to grab some more files, and this time we'll just disable the real-time protection and just see how it does without its signatures. I think that's going to give us a better kind of an idea about how it's going to perform with unknown malware. So I'll be back with some more files. Okay, now I've grabbed some malware. All of this is malware, and right now I've just disabled the ESET's real-time protection. There you go. The file protection is disabled. However, the intrusion prevention is enabled, so it should, if it's really good intrusion prevention, it should still protect the computer from these threats. So this is kind of like a situation where their signatures, I've just disabled them, but let's just assume that they do not have signature for these files. So let's see what happens then, if the intrusion prevention comes into play, or if it just lets the threats infect the computer. Okay, something opened up. So this is going to give us a better idea, because all of these threats are now going to run and do something. They're not just going to play around and have some fun. There you go. This is an adware. Even if you hit decline, it installs it. So far, no alerts whatsoever from ESET's intrusion prevention, which is not very impressive. So it looks like their intrusion prevention is kind of like dead as it was in the last version. It's not doing anything at all from what I can see. There you go, a lot of browser windows opening up. Certainly this computer is infected right now. So let me just go back into the interface, go to the hips, and let's see if we can change some settings and get it to be better. I've used the last version, and I know that if you set it to interactive mode, you're probably going to get alerts for just about everything. There you go. Allow access. If you're just going to hit deny. Okay, so far it's just all this stuff. So let's see if we get any alerts about legitimate applications like Windows or something like that. So far it's just this one guy that probably wants to make a mess of this computer. Just going to create a rule and hit deny. So let's see what kind of happened here. Okay, but there you go. Task Manager is also going to comment inside the alert here. So Intrusion Prevention is still dead. You can't use it in interactive mode because it's just going to give you an alert for everything. So it's still not that great. Blocked all the web threats, but one big thing that I was really hoping would happen did not happen. They did not work on their hips. It's still pretty much dead. Does nothing for you. I don't know if it might come into play somewhat somewhere, but I've never seen it yet. So there you go. You can see all these processes running. So it's pretty much infected. I don't think I'll be running any scans because this was kind of different. I just infected it myself. So as you saw, hips blocked, nothing. So it's not great. Zero-day protection, but their signatures are doing pretty good. As you saw, web blocking was 100%. So the beta doesn't seem a lot different. However, the detection rate did seem to improve quite a bit. So I'm pretty glad that they've worked on at least that. So the new version of ESET will be just about as good as the old one. It's not really impressive or bad. It's did pretty good on what ESET's been doing well. And zero-day protection was still mediocre or even worse. So I guess that's it for this review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a good day. Detection rate came up. That's the big take from this review. So talk to you guys later.